Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna talk about what I read in December, which I literally just posted what I read in November because I'm very slow at editing. But that's one of my New Year's goals, is to get better at churning things out and not obsessing over little things. But anyways, Happy New Year. December is over, which means that we need to talk about the things I read. And December for me wasn't, was not a great reading month. I did have two books that I really liked from this month, so it's good in that sense. I have one 5-star read, which is great, but in quantity, it wasn't a lot. But that's fine. I'm trying this year to not obsess over the amount I read and more about the quality that I read. Because I think a lot of the times, you watch booktubers and you're like, oh, they read 12 books in a month. I should be doing that. When no, most normal people don't do that. So it's fine if you only read 5 like I did this month. So starting out the month, I read Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. And this book I have been wanting to read for a few years. I think it came out in 2019 or something, but I've been wanting to read it. I'd heard only good things about it and was very excited to read it. So I bought this along with 2 other books from the Target buy 2 get 1 free sale, because sales on books just lure me in. And it lived up to the hype 100%. It was so good. So it basically is about this white woman who has a black nanny who is in her 20s, and one night the woman asks her to take her child to the grocery store because the kid's weird and loves the grocery store, just to get her out of the house because something happened at home that she doesn't want the kid there for. And so she's just chilling in the grocery store with her when she gets the police called on her, well, the security of the grocery store. And there's no reason for that other than the color of her skin. So it's very, unfortunately, common thing that happens, put into a narrative. And from there, it kind of melds the mom's past with the babysitter's present, and they kind of interweave, and there's just a lot of talk about race and performative activism, and I think it was just such a good depiction of what you see in a lot of people nowadays, kind of the, I don't know, Instagram activists, that's very much the mom in this, and how, I don't know, people can have what they think are the right intentions, but it does not always translate to that for the outside world. And it was so good. Sometimes I feel like books that deal with social topics can get a bit weirdly preachy, and even if you agree with the things they're preaching about, which I do, then it still kind of takes you out of the story, and then it's harder to read the book because you want to be, lost in the story, obviously, unless it's nonfiction. And this book did not do that at all. It was so good. I was lost in it the entire time, and I kept wanting to read it. It was very fast paced. I read it in a few days, And this is a debut book, which is crazy. It's so good. Okay, I rated this a 5 out of 5. I don't remember that. I think I might rate it a 4.5 out of 5 just because it didn't like, I don't know. I don't think it was like my top 10 favorite books of this year. So I don't know if I should rate it a 5 out of 5. I don't know. I'm very bad with ratings, but it was very good. So yeah. And this is my little spread for it. I love my reading journal. Anyway, such a fun age, such a good book. Next, I went straight into the holiday reads with this book, Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. And it was not good. I think I'd followed Tessa Bailey on my Instagram because I was just trying to follow more authors and book content, I guess. And I had never read anything by her, but I had heard her stuff was good. So I was like, okay, this has a cute cover. It's Christmas themed. Why not? Let's try it out. But I don't know if she just, I don't know, I want to read her other stuff and not base it off of this. But first of all, it's a very short book. It's only 248 pages. And so I think, I don't know her writing process, but I'm going to assume that this was like a book she just like started in October and just like whipped out for a December read. I don't think it took much effort. Maybe I'm wrong, but basically, so it follows this store owner, and he's like it's like a grumpy sunshine, not cliche, trope. And he's the sunshine, and then the girl is like grumpy. She went to jail for 5 years, and now she's out of jail, and she's getting this job as a storefront designer, like the person who makes the window displays. Yeah, which is an interesting job and concept, and I think could have been done really well, with really making it about her journey from going from jail to this life and that transition, and really talking about, I don't know, just so many issues, but it touched on none of that. The majority of this book was like weird sexual scenes that I wasn't very into, and it was a lot of, I don't know, just like a really slow, weird plot that repeated itself, and nothing really happened. And it felt like in the like second chapter, I was like, okay, I understand how this is going to go, how this is going to end. There was no like deeper problem that each of them were really facing. Like there kind of was, but it felt forced, and I don't know. I just really did not like it. It has an adorable cover though, so like I'm not mad that I own it because it's cute. But yeah, definitely would never reread this. Also, the end was so bad. The like last like 50 pages, just randomly like they have a fight that makes literally no sense, and then they make up, obviously. It just felt like the forced like miscommunication in the third act kind of thing. So don't recommend. That's my reading journal for it. So they talked a lot about COVID also in it, which I actually didn't mind. They did it in a pretty natural way, which I thought was cool. That's like the only saving grace of this book, was they, I don't know, discussed COVID in a normal, not weird way. It didn't distract from the story. So that's interesting. I love finding books that are talking about COVID, because I'm like, that's just gonna be so interesting for when I'm older, and I'm like, back in my day, a plague happened. You want to read this book to learn more about it? And I become British when I'm older. This was my least favorite romance of the year. It just felt very rushed and everything fell flat. And it's so sad because I think it had a lot of potential. Like, the story would be interesting, the job setting is super interesting, the characters' personalities are interesting. If I could rewrite this book, I would. Next, we have another 5-star read, and this I'm so excited about to talk about because it was my favorite thriller of this year. It's The Girl on the Train. This is like a classic thriller, so I've heard, and it was so good. I don't know. It had me asking questions throughout the whole storyline, which I feel like that's how you know it's a good thriller, is if even after the big secrets are revealed, you're still like, wait, but what about this little like thing? And then if they can wrap all of those questions up by the last page, amazing. That's what I look for in a thriller, and I feel like that's what this delivered. It's about a girl who rides the train every day. She's like an alcoholic. She's having a rough period of her life, dealing with like her ex-husband and getting over that, and she rides the train every day and looks out the window, as you do, and kind of makes up scenarios for the people she sees on the route every day, until, dun dun dun, one of them goes missing. So then she kind of gets involved with the case, even though nobody wants her involved, but she just butts her way in. And I think it was such a good depiction of how men, all of them, are awful and you cannot trust any of them. And that's all I want from a book, is untrustworthy, bad men. Trains, I love a good train. And thriller. So I just put a bunch of stickers on the page because I had a lot of train stickers. Yeah, so good. I said 5 out of 5. Kept me on the end. Kept me on. I said 5 out of 5. Kept. It's a 5 out of 5. I really liked it. So read this. So good. I don't think it was overrated at all. Next was a book that I read on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Had to do it. I've, of course, seen this in play form and in movie form, but I had never read it, so I figured it was time. And this copy is just so cute. It has little illustrations in it, and the cover is just adorable. This is the Wordsworth, whatever, classics, and it's so cute. But that's besides the point. The story, it was interesting reading it, because obviously I know what is going to happen because I have seen this story. Probably everybody has. Like, I don't have to explain what happens. Scrooge hates Christmas, gets visited by some ghosts, and transforms his way of thinking. But it was just interesting to, I feel like this is a very digestible classic because you already know the story. So even if you are confused by the words, you get where the plot is heading, so you can kind of use that as context clues. It was just so cute. Like, it definitely made me feel warm and cozy and Christmassy. it was the perfect thing to read on Christmas Eve. Great. So yeah, I don't think I made a spread for this. Yeah, I didn't yet. But I don't know. This is hard to rate again because it's a story that I've always known, and I think I'd rate it a 4 out of 5. I don't know. 3, 4, I don't know, I'm so bad with ratings. And then the last book that I read was an audiobook, which I am not known to read audiobooks. I feel like I don't know, I'm not a very like audio learner. So a lot of the times I'll be listening to the audiobook and then my mind wanders easily, versus if I'm stuck with a book, I like have to be actively participating. So audiobooks have been hard for me. So I picked a very fluffy, Christmassy romance book that is the 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss, and I loved it. Window shopping, bad, 2 stars, easily. And then the 12 Dates of Christmas, I think, was my favorite romance book I've read this year. Yeah, other than Beach Read. But there's this woman who lives in this small English town who never really dates seriously. So she decides to go on these 12 dates of Christmas in December that the local like community center kind of thing hosts for people, and you basically just pay up front and then they set you up on 12 different dates. Sounds great. Sounds like a fun time. And so that concept in itself makes for just an interesting plot, because you're going on these 12 dates where anything can happen. And she made all of the dates very interesting, and how they kind of weave together. Like one of the dates she starts to see more regularly throughout the 12 dates, and things ensue with that. And so there's that plot line running, while there's also the plot line of going on the different dates. And then there's also the plot line of like her high school like best friend, or childhood best friend, I mean, that she's like still in love with, you know, and he's still in love with her. We all know it from the beginning. So there's that plot line as well. And I love when stories have those like varied plot lines, which I think was a big problem with window shopping, was there was just one flat plot line. And I like seeing the varied things going on, because there's never just one plot line going on in your life. You have different parts of your life. And it was just so wholesome, and none of the characters that I was supposed to like made me angry. Sometimes that happens. So 5 out of 5. My camera died, but 5 out of 5 stars for the 12 Dates of Christmas. Thank you for watching, and let me know what your favorite book from this year is, from last year, 2021, anyway, because I have a lot, and that might be one of my next videos. I'm not sure. You guys see these little squishies behind me? My sister got me them for Christmas. They're cute. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you like hearing about books. Bye.